Hello, this is Rose, and you are watching Untwist Your Stitches, a Flosstube channel about my cross stitching, my other crafting, and all of the things that I want to share with the stitching community. Today is not going to be a regular Flosstube. What I'm doing today is explaining to you how I document and track my WIPs. How I know when I started, if I've made any changes to them, when I finish, and how I document all of the progress along the way, just to give you another idea as to how you might want to try to do it, or just to explain the best way for me. I don't say this is the best way for everyone, because everyone has their own style, has their own information that they want to record. So this is just very strictly how I document and track my WIPs. And then maybe also I'll show you how I track my floss, and a few other things. Just information that works for me, and maybe at some point it will work for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to look at the book I use to track my WIPs in. This was something that I bought in, I believe it was 2016 when I first bought this. It is a binder from So Much to Love. It came with pages. Let me show you here. It came with pages to track your WIPs and other information. Now, the first thing it does is it says start date, and then it gives you a line for what project bag you are keeping this WIP in, the name of the chart, and it's a big enough area so you can put the name of the chart and the designer if you would like to. The next thing it says is fabric, so whatever fabric you're using. It also gives you a space for if you keep individual scissors with individual projects. I did not used to do that, but now that I've got a good collection of scissors and scissor fobs, I do keep one pair of scissors with each project in its project bag. It also says needle minder, so if you keep a specific needle minder with your projects, then you'll know where your needle minder is. And then it gives you an area to put notes in. And what I do is if I change any of the colors, or if I just go with my own personal choice of colors, I will put that in there. Sometimes, not always, I will put a symbol next to it, or sometimes I just say this is what I've done, and I mark the symbol and that on the working copy of my chart. So I don't always have the symbol on this page, but sometimes I do. And then I wish they had a line for finish date, but they do not, so I put that in myself when I get to the finish. And if you need, it has this whole back side of the page for more notes if that's something that you need to do. If you've made so many changes that you need extra space, then there's more, because each page, or each page, you can use both sides. It's not printed for two different projects. It's a single project per page. So that's the first thing I do when I am kitting up a project, as I will get this book out. I'll write down you know, all of the information that it says. And then what I do is I go and I pull my colors. Now, if there's any changes, the book is with me, so I can make the changes in the book to tell me what changes I've made to the pattern. It's also a bag that I have made. This one happens to be my snowflakes WIP that I am using. So again, the chart, the fabric, the Q-snap, the floss, the scissors, the needle minder, all of that is in this bag. And how I know that is because of these tags. I got them off of Amazon. I will try to remember to put a link in the comment section or in the description section for you. They are actually considered luggage tags or backpack tags. But what I liked about them is this is a plastic pocket, and then you slide the paper inside, and then you put it on this ring, and then you attach it to either your zipper pull or your zipper bag this is the ribbon for mine, but there are like scissor fobs, there are bag fobs, so you could attach it to that, or you could, you know, this one, for whatever reason, the little hole in the zipper, this would not go through it, so I could not put it directly onto the zipper itself, so I needed to attach it to the ribbon that is on there. You attach it there. Oops, gotta get this on the right side. You attach it to your bag, however is the best way to attach it. Some bags have handles. You could attach it to the handle. However it is you would want to attach it to your bag. Screw it back together. There we go. And now, without having to open every bag up, you can just grab hold of the tag. I put the name of the pattern. I put on this one, I put the type of fabric I am using. And then the back of it, if you wanted to, you could put more information. You could put start date, end date, any changes you made to it, if it's a sal, any of the information that you want to know for a quick look can be put on this tag, and it stays right there with your bag. So that way, instead of opening every bag up, you have a very convenient, very easy way to look and see, okay, that bag has what in it? Oh, okay. Now, some of us remember, some of us don't remember. We have too many sals, or our mind just does not hold that information in it. Whatever is the thing, those tags are perfect for tracking what is in each individual project bag. Now, the other way I track my WIP is whenever I work on it, and at the end of the time that I have chosen, be it 1 week, be it 1 day, however I decide long it is that I am going to work on each individual project, at the end of that stitching time, I take a picture with my phone and I put it into a file. Now, sometimes the project is going to take multiple years. My Heaven and Earth design snowman, the Christmas cottage is the name of it. It has been ongoing for 10 years. My Santa of the Forest embroidery canvas, the painted embroidery canvas that I'm doing, it's been going on for 8 years. My Death by Cross Stitch, I think it took me 18 months, but I knew it wasn't going to be just a 1-year project. I knew it was going to be a long-term project, so it had its own file. So what I do, as I said, is I'll take a picture at the end of each stitching session, be it 1 day, 1 week, however long. When I put it away and I pull out a new WIP, I'm going to take a picture of where my progress is. Then what I do is I bring it to my computer. So on this flash drive, you will see the first file is for my, can't do this. Okay, let's do it at an angle here. The first file is my snowman, Heaven and Earth. On that file are all the pictures from every session that I have worked on this project. So this started on January 22nd of 2013. I've explained in another of my videos that this is 11 years old, but there were 2 full years that I didn't ever touch it. So in reality, it's been worked on for 9 years. But regardless. So these are all of the pictures from each session that I have worked on this project. And then I put it in this file so that I can track how I've done along the way. The next one is my Bless the Beast Santa. That's the embroidery one that I was talking about. And then this one here, I call this my WIPs file. Now, my WIPs file is only for 1 year. So this particular file right here, this is the progress that I have gotten on my current WIPs for this year only, for 2024. The file for 2023 has already been put on a different flash drive so that I can keep it in a safe area. But these are all the pictures that I have of all of the stuff I have worked on this year and the progress I have got. So, you know, this one says February 6th of 2024, 4/6/2024, down to 6/23/2024. So up until the end of June, these are the progress pictures I have of the WIPs that I have worked on. And they go on a flash drive and they're in the WIPs folder. Then I have a finish folder, and that is for all of the things. If I finish it in the year 2024, I will put it in, I will put the, not the WIP pictures, but the final finished picture I will put in this file. And then at the end of 2024, I will take this folder and I will put it on my other flash drive, and it will be saved on that flash drive. So anytime I need to go back and look at any progress, when I finish something, who it was for, any of that kind of stuff, it will be on that other flash drive so that I can look back for however many years. I think I have 12 years worth of progress pictures that I have kept so far. So this is how I then track my progress and I track my finishes. And that way, I know how long it has taken me. I know approximately how it looked before I started working on it and how I worked at the end of that stitching session. And for me, that is how I keep track of how well I'm doing. I don't count stitches. I never have. I don't want to do that. I use a paper pattern when I'm working with my projects. So I don't have it in any of the apps. I don't use markup. I don't use Pattern Keeper. I don't use any of that. I don't like it. I like to use a physical piece of paper that I can have in hand, so that if something glitches on my phone or something glitches on my tablet, I don't lose the progress that I've made so far. I've got that. Yes, I know papers can be destroyed. They can be lost. At one point, I did do that. I lost a pattern, and I had to... It took me almost 3 months to track down the designer, because they were no longer designing, to tell them what had happened, to say, you know, is there any way that I could pay for a new pattern? The designer was a lovely lady, and she said, no, you don't have to pay for this pattern. I see where you're at with your stitching, because I had sent her pictures of the progress I had made up to that point. And she said, I know you've bought this pattern at one time. I see the progress you have made. I see where you're at. I am more than happy to send you out a new copy of that pattern. So yes, I understand there's a possibility that a paper pattern can be lost, but I am old school. This is how I like to work. This is what I am comfortable with, so that's how I do it. So that's what I do. That's how I track my WIPs. That's how I track my finishes. Also, at the very beginning of my book, my So Much to Love book, I have a paper. I'm in the process of trying to put together what's going to work for me, but this is also all of the finishes I have had this year to tell me what has been finished in 2024, when it was finished, the name of the pattern, and when it was finished. Then I have another section of this that I track my DMC floss. I'm sorry that I keep bumping the table like this. I thought it would be a little bit steadier. But I have made a master list, and on that master list I have the number of flosses that I have for each DMC color, and they're all in order. This is a list that I made myself personally so that I could fit it in my book and keep track of the DMC colors that I have. The next section is my fancy floss. I again did a master paper, and I write down the name of the fancy floss and how many skeins I have of it, and I keep track of my fancy floss in this way. There are sections that I cut it or put it into, such as this is my gentle arts section. This is my classic colorworks section. This over here is my week's die works section. Yeah, I've the fancy floss I have the most of is the Weeks Dye Work. So, but each designer, dyer, whatever you want to call them, that do the different threads, each one of them has their own section that I put them in and record so that I know how many I have. If for some reason I'm run out and I'm thinking, I know I had more, this I can go back to. I can say, yeah, I still have one more skein. I've got to find that. Is it in another project? Is it, did I set it aside for some reason? But I will know because of my master list if I really am completely out and need to order a new floss, or if I need to just go look in my stash to find out where is this. And then this section is where I put the pages once I have finished with a project. So this is the information sheet I have for projects that I have completed. This one was started in 10/5/23, and I finished it on January 16th, 2024. So I have now taken it from the working WIP section and I have put it in the finish section of my binder. And that's how I keep track of all that. I keep my papers so that if somebody comes back and says, hey, I saw one of your finishes, could you tell me if you used all the called for colors? Did you make changes to it? It doesn't look like the pattern that I bought, and I like your version, so I can go back and I can look at, did I make changes? And if I did, what were those changes? And then I can personally go back and look and see if for some crazy reason I decide I'm going to do this pattern again, such as I did a couple of patterns twice because I gave one to each of my sisters as Christmas presents a few years ago, and I can go back and say, okay, this is what I did with this one. Do I want to do it the same, or do I want to make changes? So it gives me it keeps in my mind what I've done and what I've changed. Okay, so this is my Sheep Virtues WIP. So it has its own, okay, so to begin with, I put my floss on the plastic floss bobbins. For me, this is the best way I have found over the years to maintain my floss. Now, I know a lot of you do not like the bobbins because you say it crinks the thread. I've never had an issue with that. Yes, it does have a little bit of a crinkle in it, but within just a couple of stitches of using it, the crinks go away. So I don't have a problem with that. This is where my master set of DMC bobbins are stored. Starting at the top with the number 01 and then going all the way to the bottom. And I believe the last number is 3859 or 3895. Yes, it's 3895. So that is where I keep my master set of DMC. Those are only the solid colors. That is not any of the variegated or any of the variations of the DMC. And I do not use DMC metallics, so you will not find any of those in my stash. And this box here holds all my over-dyed and specialty floss. That is Gentle Arts, Jay's Creations, which is an Australian company, Classic Color Works, Weeks Dye Works. All of those flosses are kept on bobbins in this box here. This is where I keep the rest of my floss. And the reason that I have this is because there was a lady that had a fabric shop, and she carried DMC flosses in her shop. Well, she decided that she no longer wanted to have a physical shop, and she was selling this. She was selling her inventory. She just wanted to get rid of this. She didn't care how much it cost or how much was in it, but she just wanted to get rid of the floss. So she put an ad on Facebook, and that was back when I was still on Facebook, and she advertised this. A friend of mine knew that I was in the area where she was selling this, and she wanted $300 and come and pick it up. Well, I researched, excuse me, wait one second. Okay, I'm back. So, I researched, and at the time, when I looked on eBay, and I put in wooden DMC floss storage, I was able to come up with those same boxes that are the flosses in. At that time, those boxes were selling from anywhere to $50 to $75 each. I got 12 of the boxes. I got all of the floss that she had, if it was in the boxes or if it was just in the back in her inventory. I got all of the floss. I got all of the boxes for $300. When I went through and counted it and put the inventory into my book, I discovered that there were over 5,000 flosses of the different DMC colors. Now, at the time that she had this, her numbers only went up to $37.99. But she had a few boxes of the 3,800 numbers, but not all of them. Doesn't matter. I don't care. The price I paid just for the boxes was under the value that they were even at that time. So I got the deal of a century. So I do not have to buy DMC floss for a long time, except for the newer colors, the 1 through 20, most of the 3,800 numbers, but regardless of all that. And I have shared with friends that were kitting up projects that they said, if I give you a list of these numbers, would you be able to supply them to me? And I said, yes, of course. I am more than happy to share with anybody the surplus that I have. What I have done in the past is I charge 10 cents a piece, and that pays for the time it takes me to go through, pull the flosses, get it into a envelope or whatever, and ship it to the person that wants it. Because normally, I don't have somebody in my house pulling it themselves. So for 10 cents a skein, I will kit up a project for you if I have the floss. Now, of course, these are some of the older dye lots, but I make sure that if it's more than one skein that person is asking for, I make sure the skeins match. that the die lots are the same, because there are a couple in there that do not, that you can see that they were two different die lots. Or maybe she had some that were in the direct, I don't know, but there's a few colors that they're not the same hue, I guess you would call it. So if anybody asks me, can you kit this up for me, I make sure that they match, that everything is the same. So I have my master set. I have what I can pull from when I need to replace it. And then each individual project has a box such as this with the colors that it needs for what I'm stitching. Now, some of these projects that have been kitted up previously, they might have the same color in it. In my master box, when I take a color out, I take a paper bobbin, I write the color number on it, and I write what project it is in. Then I know where, if I'm looking for that color floss, I know where it's at. When I am kitting up a new project, I take a sticky note. If the color is not available, if there is a paper bobbin in there instead of the color, I write down the name of the color and I write down what project to go and look for it in. And I do that with all of my colors. And so there'll be bobbins that are just strictly for this project, and then there will be a list of the colors that are with different WIPs. Now I know some of you say, well, I like my colors to all be from the same die lot. I get that, I really do. And I have come across where colors are not from that same die lot. But what I do is when I get down and I see there's only one length, one 6-strand length left, I look at my pattern and I go, do I think I'm going to be able to finish this pattern with this amount of floss? If the answer is no, I go and I pull a new skein, I put it on a bobbin, I wrap the 6 skein length that is the end of the old skein, I wrap it with that bobbin on top, and I look and I see, are these colors the same? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. So I cut a skein from the new, or I cut a length from the new skein. I take one strand from that. I take one strand from the old, put them together, and I work on it that way. I have only ever one time had it be so obvious that I couldn't continue with the pattern by doing that. Most of the time, by tweeting those two skeins together, I can continue on and finish off the pattern and you wouldn't know the difference. One time it did not work for me and I had to pull all my old work out and start over with the new floss. But that's how I do things. I am more than happy with how it has turned out so far. I've never had a problem with it, so that's just how I do things. And like I said, I keep a bobbin box with each WIP. I pull from my master set. When my master set is empty, I pull from my inventory set. And that's just how I do my floss and how I keep track of it. So if you have any questions about anything that I have shown you on this video, please ask it in the comment section, and I will get back to you. If you have any suggestions for anything that you think might work for me, be free to share in the comment section. The only thing I do ask is please do not say what you're doing is wrong and you shouldn't be doing it that way, because we are all individuals. We all have our own way of doing things, and there is no right way. There is no wrong way. There's no you're going to be sorry that you did this. There are no cross-stitch police. It is each individual person's personal choice how they do things. I am up for suggestions. I do not mind suggestions. What I do not like is when someone says, you shouldn't be doing it that way because it's not the right way. Because there is no right way. There is each individual way. And I respect your choices, and I hope you respect mine. So that is all I have today to share with you. I am going to try to get this uploaded before the end of July 15th, which is today. And then at the beginning of August, I will be back with a regular Flosstube video. I'm sorry. My brain just fell apart right there. So, happy stitching. Happy summer. Hope to see you soon.